Welcome to Cooking at Home, the show that delivers the most delicious, succulent, mouth-watering home cooking recipes. Brought to you from inside the household of everyday people. That's right, these are no professional cooks, just average people that know how to make flavorful food for their families. This is Cooking at Home.
Hi, my name is Sue Tylke, and I'm here today to show you how to make an appetizer that I've been making for my family for years. They're sour cream turnovers. I make the dough from scratch because it's fail-safe and the dough is so good. And to start with, show you the ingredients. I use flour, 2 cups of flour. I use 1 tablespoon of sugar. I use 1 teaspoon of salt, a half a cup of shortening, 1 full cup of sour cream in there. That's why they're called sour cream turnovers, and an egg yolk. Now, to begin with, to start making the dough, we'll start with 2 cups of flour. Okay, now that I've put in 2 cups of flour, I'm going to add sugar. But whenever I get my ingredients together, I never put them over the bowl because you could overfill, and once you've put that in and it's too much, you can't take it back out. So I always measure outside of the bowl. Now that I've added 2 cups of flour, 1 tablespoon of sugar, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of salt. Again, I'm not going to measure it over the bowl because I don't want to overfill. Like I said, once you overfill, you can't take it out. So I measure it off to the side before I add it. Okay, now we've added all the dry ingredients, the flour, the sugar, and the salt. And I'm going to whisk them together. Whisk works perfect for this. Gets it all mixed very well. And then once I've whisked them together, I'm going to start cutting in the shortening. Now that we're done whisking in all the dry ingredients, I'll be adding a half a cup of shortening to the turnovers. So the easiest way to do that is to add it into small little batches. Not into one big lump. It's much easier to cut in. Takes a little time, but. And now that I've added that, I cut it in with a pastry blender. These work great for cutting in shortening or butter, whatever you're using on your dough. But for this dough, I'm using shortening, and this works great for cutting it in. And I keep working it until it's crumbly. This pastry blender works really great for mixing the shortening into the dry ingredients. And it's needed to be about this consistency. My next ingredient is going to be sour cream. There's a whole cup of sour cream, and that's why they're sour cream turnovers. And the next ingredient is going to be an egg yolk. And that's a little bit more difficult. You have to separate the yolk from the whites. The best way to do that, I found, is to break it and let the whites just run out. Hang on to the yolk and let the whites run out. And that's how you separate egg whites from the egg yolk. Okay, now that the egg has been added and the shortening, I'm going to start mixing. And you just want to mix it till it's all moist. and it'll become like a solid dough. Okay, now that I've mixed the sour cream and the egg yolk in there, it's moist enough to form a ball. Saran wrap. Put it over the ball. Flip it upside down. And I can wrap it to put it in the refrigerator. Okay, now we're going to start on the filling. We can move these. I'm going to start with cutting an onion. I have a trick to cutting an onion. After I peel the outside off, I leave this end on and I cut the other end off. And once I do that, I can cut 3/4 of the way through, not all the way, and that way this part will hold on to the onion so it won't come apart on me while I'm cutting. You cut one way, and then cut the opposite way. Again, like I said, not all the way through, so the bottom holds on to the onion pieces. Now once you've cut that, you can go ahead and cut your small pieces. You don't need much but 1/4 cup, so this should be good. I have mushrooms that I've already cut up, and I'm going to add those next. Next, now that I've got the mushrooms and the onions in here, my next ingredient is the hamburger meat. I'm going to turn the stove up to about a medium high, and then while it's cooking, I'm going to continually just keep breaking it apart so that it ends up crumbly. Now you can see that the meat has all completely turned from pink to brown. Turn off the heat, and I'm going to add the meat to the strainer. Well, now I'm going to let this hamburger meat drain, and while that drains, I'm going to roll out the dough. I'll take my round cutter, make sure I flour it so it doesn't stick, and I'm going to make circles. Now I'm going to add some salt, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and never measure over the bowl. And I add a 1/2 teaspoon of oregano. Okay, my next ingredient is going to be black pepper, and that's only going to be a 1/4 teaspoon.
Sue now adds a 1/2 cup of sour cream to the meat.
And the next step is I'm going to just pinch the turnovers.
Now, Sue spreads a mixture of egg and water to help seal the turnovers.
Okay, now they're ready to go in the oven. I got my ovens preheated at 450 degrees, and I'll put these in for 15 minutes. And there you have it, sour cream turnovers.
Can't really fake laugh.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. recorded live at Turner Hall on May 10th at 8 p.m. only on MPTV 36. Smart TV for Student Operations Day 2014. See you then.
Good evening and welcome to a world of minor. Wait, what? Hey guys, my name is Hank Gomez. I'm not a magician, by the way. I just play one on the internet. It was either that or a vampire or even a zombie reviewing video games, and I don't think no one wants to see that. I want to be an online reviewer. Have you seen those guys? They bring in 2,000 viewers a day and get free swag. I want that. My friend Rick, he jumped on the bandwagon too. He does movie reviews, but I think my show is better.
Welcome back to Cooking at Home.
Hi, my name is Sharron Robinson, and what I'll be cooking today are my famous hot wings. Everyone in my family goes crazy about them, so I like to make them for them. And our ingredients are canola oil, butter, flour, chicken, salt, pepper, seasoning salt, and the famous buffalo sauce. Now we're in the process of getting your flour together. Now we're gonna add the pepper. You just put a little in there to make sure it's enough. Not too much, not too less. And that's that. Now you're gonna take your seasoning salt. You take it, you just sprinkle enough in there. Now that you added your seasonings, you're gonna now mix the flour together. You just take it and just go like this. We're gonna now replace the flour with chicken. The first step to your chicken, you add your salt. Now that we're done with the salt, we're gonna add the pepper. Now we're gonna add the seasoning salt. which is the last ingredient to your chicken. Now that we're done with the seasoning salt, it's now time to coat the chicken. You're gonna make sure it's nice and even so that your chicken can be extra crispy. You're gonna put it on a plate, and now we're gonna go over to the stove. It's time to start your sauce. First, you take the 2 tablespoons of butter that you have, you put it in the microwave. Okay, your next step is, once that's done, which is now, you're gonna add, be careful because it's hot. You're gonna add your buffalo sauce. Now you're gonna flip your chicken. And you might have to adjust the temperature. Now the timer has stopped. It's time to take your chicken out. You just gently pick it up, go like this, and you lay it on a paper towel. Now you're gonna check your sauce out. You see how it's nice and thick after you let it sit for a while after you added the hot sauce and the butter. Now you're gonna add each wing one by one, or actually 2 at a time. Now that that's done, you're gonna add your last wing in there, and you're gonna go over to the oven. As you can see, it's coated nice and even. You're gonna take this to the oven, put it on the bottom rack, and you're gonna let that cook for about 10 to 12 minutes. And that's the way that I make my famous buffalo wings that drives everyone crazy.